Welcome to Claudia Explores, and I'm going to start off by saying something. This is number one. I love Rob Marshall. He is the director of the Little Mermaid Live Action, and I just have to give him his applause. What he did, he really brought to life the Little Mermaid. And he has said it's a treasure of his. And what he did with casting Halle Bailey as Ariel is something, nothing but his love for the Little Mermaid, because he cast the perfect person for that role. And then that needs to be applauded, because so many people would have gone for what is white and not what is right. And Holly definitely is the epitome of Ariel. And I don't know too many people who would have, gone with that. Is oftentimes people are swayed by the majority and what is predominantly seen as correct. And Rob Marshall, he went and honestly did what was right for this film, and I applaud him for it. And you can just feel the love that he has for this old treasured story. And I don't know if it can be beat. Like all of the live actions that I have seen for the Disney classics, this is the best thus far. And I can feel the spirit of the Little Mermaid through and through this. And in fact, I felt like at some points it exceeded that. So it's definitely something worth coming to see. So again, I love you, Rob Marshall. You did the best and you got the best, and that's why this movie is the best live action thus far. So I want to go on to speaking to the first scene. I went there with my sister, and we're both always loved Disney. My sister loved The Little Mermaid as her favorite. I loved Beauty and the Beast as my favorite. But the first scene, all there was like this little paragraph that said something about how the sorrow of a mermaid is deeper than anyone's because she can never cry. She has no tears. And it's just the waves. There's these beautiful waves. And my gosh, my face, I just was just cheesing. My sister's face was cheesing. And we were just looking at each other and looking at the screen. We're just like, just from the opening scene, you can feel the magicalness of it. And that is a lot just from waves and a little paragraph. So the movie was 2 hours and 15 minutes, but it felt way shorter. I was left wanting more. And I spoke to another viewer at the theater, and that person felt the same way. And I actually want to see it. And there were points I wanted to rewind it to see it again. But yeah, the music was very moving. Of course, we all heard Holly's captivating and soul-moving rendition of Part of Your World. And it resonated so deep. It resonated more deep than the Disney songs that I've heard in the past. And that says a lot, because Disney songs, they draw tears out of my eyes. They make me cry. They put lumps in my throat. So that says a lot that Holly's version and rendition of Part of Your World, it really touched a deep part of me. Like, it just touched something that I don't think I've had a Disney song do, not that I can recall. So yeah, Holly through and through, beautiful. Now the songs that surprised me, and they're new songs, there is the song that Jonah Hauer-King, he sung. He plays Prince Eric, and he did Wild Uncharted Waters. And that song, first of all, does Jonah have like a musical background? I mean, he did that very well. I don't look in too much into actors because I don't want their history to, scar my experience in a movie. So I tend to stay away from that because sometimes you find some things out and you're like, oh. So I'm not going to dig any deeper. But yeah, that was a very wonderful story he told in that, and I felt the passion he had for Ariel. I felt the passion he has for exploring, and I would have to say that song is like one of my top three from that movie. He has a beautiful voice. I just think he has he's just a beautiful man. So I find his voice beautiful. Then there was, what was it? There was another song. Oh, the Vanessa's Trick. My sister afterwards, she was like, wow, that woman who played Vanessa, she did a very good job singing. I was like, oh my gosh, you did not know that it's Holly singing. I'm like, I'm offended. But anyway, that little melody paired with Melissa McCarthy, Holly and Melissa McCarthy were part of that little Vanessa Trick song, and it was beautiful. I enjoyed that. So that is the only song. Those are the only two. There were some other songs. I found a lot of the music, as usual, enjoyable. That's what I usually get from Disney. So there was the setting. And now this confirms some suspicions I had as a little girl. I remember watching Sebastian, and I'm like, why does this crab has a Jamaican accent? I'm assuming that this is in Europe. Ariel is white, Prince Eric is white. Why does this crab have an accent? Like, okay, you will expect a French accent, but a Jamaican accent? And then on top of that, I was so confused about the background because it did have a tropical vibe to it. But this confirms it all. This is actually set in Jamaica. The setting for the story is Jamaica. So it makes sense why in these live action, the castle where the queen and king, they are black. So that would make sense because I think Jamaica is predominantly black. It was definitely a colonized area where slavery was predominantly the moneymaker of that land. So it makes sense that Queen Selena is played by a black woman. So yeah, that was surprising to have that confirmed after so many decades. That hey, that is. My suspicions are correct. So yeah, that was a surprise there. So the casting, what do I think of that? Was I sold? Did they sell me this story that they are these characters from The Little Mermaid? And I would have to say 100% yes. We're going to start off with Holly. Holly is a gorgeous, beautiful woman through and through. She has not only the physical beauty, but the inner beauty, and you can even hear it in her voice. So I would say she is the epitome of Ariel. She's sweet, innocent. She has this beautiful, sweet face and voice, and her disposition is one that you rarely see being celebrated. She is a humble girl. She's a forgiving girl. She is an open-minded girl, an intelligent. She's all of those things that you would expect from Ariel. You don't see hatred in her. Like her father, King Triton, he has hatred for humans. but you don't see that hatred in her. She has a spirit of willing to learn about different people. She doesn't take one experience she has with one person that's in a group and has that as the map or the prototype for all the people in that group. She takes one person as they are, sees them for who they are, not for what she has experienced in the past. And that's what you expect from Ariel. You would expect that kind of purity from her. She was always open-minded about learning about somebody, learning about a different place. So, to have Holly, which she seems to be like that. She seems so sweet, open-minded, and humble. And every interview I see of her, that's what I get. And I think that was very important. And I think that's what Rob Marshall, I love you. I do believe he saw that. And even with the speaking parts, when she was not singing, you heard that sweetness. There was that sweet, innocent tone. So I definitely I was bought. And, yes, this is Ariel. She's not white, but this is Ariel. And in fact, Holly has made me, no longer is Belle my favorite Disney princess. Because of Holly, Ariel is my favorite princess. And the live action Ariel is my favorite princess. So, and another interesting thing was that Ariel got a little mischievousness about her and humor. And I didn't really see that in the animation, but maybe it was touched on that she has a little humor about her, but it was definitely expressed here, and Holly made me laugh. So that was another lovable feature of this character. Now, as far as Jonah Hauer-King, he is the brought to life human version of Prince Eric through and through, from the dimples, the eyes, the body. I mean, he's a very beautiful man. The cartoon character is a beautiful depiction of a man. And Eric, I'm calling him Eric. His name is Jonah. Jonah, he is definitely, he sold the part to me. He definitely sold that part to me. And I knew he was going to bring his A game because I have seen him in adaptations of Agatha Christie's mysteries. So I knew he was a good actor, and he was just believable. And as I saw Eric in animation, I saw him as a sweet-tempered man. I saw him as adventurous, and Jonah had definitely brought both of those to the screen, and I applaud him for that. Now, for Javier Bardem, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. It's sad that I'm not, because he's my favorite actor. I've known him since Skyfall. And I'm just, every time I see this man on the screen, he is captivating, and he really makes me believe that he is these roles. Like, I genuinely thought he was these every time he plays these parts, I genuinely feel like that's him. But then you see him and you're like, oh, that's not him. But he's a very good actor, has a lot of passion, and he's definitely King Triton. He's a very he has a beautiful deep voice. His structure, his physical structure is very much a king structure. So yeah, it wasn't hard for me to not be sold by Javier, because he always sells me. He's just talent. He's just talent. Melissa McCarthy, she played Ursula, and I'm so happy that she did not go for the animation, but she went for the Melissa McCarthy version of Ursula. And it was a seamless performance. She had me laughing, and she had me believing she was Ursula. I say that because I watched Aladdin, and Will Smith, he played Genie, and I did not like his performance. It was very disappointing because I like Will Smith, but it was a disappointing performance because I felt like he was trying to channel Robin Williams, and I'm like, no one can do Robin Williams but Robin Williams. I want to see Will Smith be Genie, and so that was a big disappointment. But yeah, Melissa McCartney, she did a wonderful job, and so did the other actors. I'm not familiar with them, but they did a good job. Now, the quality of the screen, I'm going to critique that. And I'm just saying the whole overall appearance, like when I'm looking at the movie, what am I seeing? Now, the CGI, the computer generated imagery, my sister didn't know what that meant, so I had to explain that. So I'm just saying that for those who don't know, I'm pretty sure most people do. It was it was very tasteful. I was not distracted because oftentimes I see movies and they have CGI and it's very distracting and it ruins the story. But this one was very tasteful and for the most part subtle. Of course, we're going to recognize what is real and what's not. We have eyes, we have brains. So, of course I saw CGI, but it was not distracting. And for the background and the sets, this is in regards to the carpenters and the people who created the scene of Jamaica, of the castle, of the boats and everything. I thought it was very believable. I felt like I was sent to Jamaica. There were actual items that I would see in the castle. There were actual items I would imagine that would be in Jamaica. So kudos to those people who created the sets, the designers and architects of the sets. They did an amazing job. So I overall, I am just thoroughly impressed with this movie. So I don't know if I mentioned, but I did the early access. That's why I'm able to talk about this, even though it's not the 26th yet. Now, what's important, you have to have chemistry. So let's get into the chemistry between Ariel and Prince Eric. That's just important. That is very paramount to any film when you're telling a story. You have to have chemistry. That's so. I already know Eric, Jonah/Eric, he can bring his A game. I haven't seen too much of Holly's acting, so I was really concerned about that because I did see some photos of her having kind of trouble with getting into the romantic part of it. I don't know, she was very young. So, the idea of, the beach scene where, she has to lean on a man. I can understand that being kind of intimidating and Uncharted Waters. So I was concerned because I did see Rob Marshall and his assistant director try to convince, or not convince, but show Holly how to be, oh, this is my man. I'm in love with this man. I'm connecting to him. So she had to caress Jonah's face and all that kind of stuff. So I was kind of concerned, will Holly be able to bring that connection? Because I know she's very young, and I would not expect a young woman, and she was a teenager, so I wouldn't expect her to connect that way, but she really brought it, and I did feel that chemistry. There was attraction, there was compassion, and there was passion. So, when she did that singing scene with him, caressing his face and him, grasping for her hand, because, she's comforting him. It was very much believed. So all in all, I have to say, this is the best, I have yet to see with the live actions for the Disney, classics. And there were a lot of surprises. I won't ruin it for anyone, but this is my critique. I highly suggest you see it and support this beautiful creation. And I'm gonna have to say it again. I love you, Rob Marshall, because you brought the magic. You brought something that is historical, because I don't know if we're ever gonna see a Black woman play this kind of figure that is well loved and respected in this world. So that's my opinion. Give it a like, a thumbs up, share, and a comment. Take care.